2 weeks of silence transformed my existence completely, not due to the loss of sound, but because it returned unexpectedly. When you're unable to hear, others assume they can speak freely without consequence. My daughter believed that as well. And the words I caught upon returning from the clinic left me longing for that quiet once more. Yet it also presented the ideal chance for retribution. Before we proceed, kindly subscribe to our feed and share your location in the feedback section. The rhythmic beep of the cardiac monitor struck me like a grand orchestra, following 2 weeks of total quiet. That basic digital tone resonated more beautifully than any melody Elizabeth and I had ever swayed to. I placed my hand over my chest, sensing my pulse aligning with the device's steady beat. "Mr. Harlan." Dr. Lee's voice rang out sharp and distinct, no longer faint or unclear, utterly flawless. "Are you able to hear me clearly?" I nodded silently, fearing that uttering a word might shatter this wonder. The auditory exam earphones remained snug against my head, and each note, each murmur, each inhale came through with astonishing sharpness. My fingers shook as I removed them. "It's all returned," I murmured softly, then stronger, amazed by my own tone. "Absolutely everything." Dr. Lee grinned while jotting entries on her device. The pen's tip scraped across the display, yet another noise I'd overlooked in its absence. "The swelling has fully receded. Your auditory function now registers normal across every range. 2 weeks prior, that worksite mishap had robbed me of all audio. The dropping girder missed me, but the faulty air hammer beside my ear inflicted some transient harm. Total hearing loss. They declared, possibly irreversible. But now, I absorbed the clinic's chorus. Lift chimes, corridor strides, far-off chats, the swish of self-opening entrances. Sarah would be utterly astonished. She'd been so attentive, relocating to the residence to assist during my healing. My spirit lifted envisioning her response. "I must contact my daughter," I stated, grasping for my mobile. "Let's finalize the release procedures first," Dr. Lee suggested. "We need to ensure all records are accurate." I endorsed forms with unsteady grip, scarcely scanning the text. The writing instrument scratched on the sheet. Another overlooked echo. The caregiver, Linda, outlined my subsequent visits. Though I paid partial attention, I fixated on Sarah's expression when I'd step inside and proclaim her name aloud. "Ease up during the initial days," Linda advised. "Your mind requires adjustment to handling these noises anew." I expressed gratitude to both and proceeded to the lift, my steps reverberating in the passage. Each auditory gift unfolded like a present. The lift panels parted with a gentle tone, and I entered. Selecting the garage level, even that small snap felt deep. My Ford Explorer sat in the identical space where Sarah had left me 2 weeks back. I'd been terrified then, confronting potential lifelong silence. Now igniting the motor, I almost chuckled at the known growl. The stereo activated on its own. A vintage rock channel Elizabeth adored. "Things occur for a purpose," I voiced clearly, echoing a phrase Elizabeth often shared in tough moments. My speech sounded odd in the vehicle's confined area, yet wonderfully precise. The 20-minute journey home blurred amid reclaimed sounds. Vehicles buzzed nearby, motors accelerating, tires screeching, distant signals blaring. I'd forgotten the world's clamor, its vitality. My community appeared unchanged. Tidy suburban dwellings with groomed yards and paths. Mrs. Jenkins tended her flowers adjacent, her tools grating on the pavement. A few homes away, kids frolicked in their yard, giggles drifting on the April wind. A canine yelped someplace. Another replied from opposite the road. I steered into my driveway and paused briefly, gazing at the 2-level colonial home Elizabeth and I acquired 35 years ago. Sarah's vehicle rested next to the sidewalk. She had to be indoors, likely fixing supper or viewing her midday programs. My palm wavered on the entry knob. Should I announce immediately upon entering? Or astonish her? Perhaps locate her in the cooking area and converse casually. Observe her features shift with delight and wonder. I chose the surprise. Ascending the entry stairs, I detected voices within. Sarah and Mark conversing in what seemed the galley. Ideal. I could startle them both. I inserted my key stealthily and nudged the front portal ajar. The dialogue sharpened as I advanced into the foyer. Goodness, that aged load is returning soon. Sarah's tone echoed from the galley, edged with annoyance. I halted abruptly. Grasp firm on the handle. Those terms struck fiercer than any tumbling girder might have. Load. Mark's words ensued. Equally vivid. At minimum, the coverage funds aided his treatment costs. Might have worsened. My limbs weakened instantly. I braced against the foyer wall, scarcely inhaling. This must be an error. Perhaps I'd misunderstood whence my hearing was fresh, after all. But Sarah's following statement severed any doubt. I simply wish this ordeal concluded. 2 weeks feigning concern for his each whim. I'm drained. The surroundings spun. These came from my daughter's lips, my daughter's timbre, depicting me as an undesired duty. The child I'd funded through university, supported amid her separation, invited into my abode whenever aid was sought. I stayed immobile in that foyer, absorbing the pair I'd relied on most. Unaware, I perceived every syllable. My torso ached as if gripped and wrenched internally. The passage appeared to expand and shrink with each throb as Sarah's phrase reverberated in my thoughts. That aged load. 2 weeks assuming she stayed from affection, to aid her father through life's gravest ordeal. I'd been naive. My knees nearly buckled, yet I compelled stability, backed to the barrier. I required further insight. I needed to grasp precisely what confronted me prior to any choices. Advancing cautiously along the passage, I aligned nearer the galley entrance. Their exchange persisted. Each term another spike in trust's grave. Riverside Manor boasts solid feedback, Sarah remarked, and it's affordable. The payout should handle the entry fee. Mark snickered. A once amiable noise. Once he's relocated, we can commence updates here. Fresh galley. Perhaps remove that partition between eating space and lounge. The agent mentioned it might boost value by 60,000. Possibly higher, based on master bath alterations. Sarah appended. They orchestrated my existence as if I were deceased, debating my dwelling like their possession. I clutched the barrier fiercely, knuckles paling, striving for noiseless respiration. But they continued. Believe he doubts us? Mark inquired. You're joking. He hears nothing. Sad elder merely nods and grins as I scribble messages. Rather pitiful. Truly, the disdain in her timbre, my child's timbre, churned my gut. I recalled those messages she'd penned over 2 weeks, all those amplified grins and soft taps on my arm. Theater. Purely. I must verify this. Observe their deception skill toward one they deem undetectable. Inhaling deeply, I prepared inwardly. Appear bewildered. Appear thankful. Scrutinize their expressions and gauge their falsehood prowess. I entered the galley, ensuring steps somewhat heavier, like one unsteady. Sarah and Mark occupied the table, their shift instantaneous and thorough. Father. Sarah leaped up, features instantly brimming with apparent worry. She approached and grasped my limb tenderly. How do you feel? You appear weary. The identical voice labeling me a load moments ago now oozed counterfeit warmth. I permitted reliance on her contact, enacting the appreciative, perplexed parent. Mark elevated his volume needlessly, as folks do presuming auditory impairment. Hello? John? How went the session? I nodded and gestured vaguely, then indicated my ears questioningly. Sarah swiftly seized a memo pad from the surface. She'd mastered this pattern over 2 weeks. She inscribed, "Physician states hearing could restore shortly." That's splendid update. I perused the memo, permitting optimism to surge across my visage, internally. I inventoried her act's every facet, how she enlarged her gaze to seem thrilled, how she compressed my arm as sharing my elation, how Mark bobbed eagerly alongside as if invested beyond my removal. Mark advanced and added his memo. "Perhaps we ought to explore support choices for your strengthening. Merely brief until full recovery." Sarah supplemented swiftly below his script, solely for aid with remedies and rehab. Nothing lasting. I nodded keenly, as if this resonated wonderfully. Inwardly, I observed their seamless pivot from elder care discussions to framing it as interim health support. They'd strategized meticulously. Over ensuing moments, I performed flawlessly. I gestured at items and feigned confusion to verbal replies. I nodded appreciatively when Sarah noted queries on hunger or needs. I even mustered a weary yet satisfied grin when Mark tapped my rear and wrote, "We're thrilled you're fine." Each motion felt toxic to ingest, yet I sustained the role. I required deeper knowledge. I needed to comprehend their full scheme and timeframe before action. Eventually, I indicated upward and penned my memo. "Fatigued. Heading to relax." Sarah embraced me, truly embraced, and proclaimed loudly, "Certainly. Father, rest plentifully." I ascended gradually toward the steps, sensing their gaze upon me. Just prior to the initial tread, I caught Mark's tone, softer now, yet impeccably audible to my revived sense. He accepted it entirely. I mounted those stairs deliberately, palm clasping the rail to curb tremor. Upon reaching my chamber, I sealed the portal quietly and perched on the mattress Elizabeth and I shared for 35 years. The dwelling felt altered now. Walls once signifying security and kin now resembled a snare. The child I'd nurtured and cherished had morphed into an unfamiliar figure donning Sarah's visage, and I evidently amounted to mere hindrance between her and my funds. I gazed at the framed image on my bedside. Sarah at her university commencement, Lim encircling my shoulders, both beaming for the lens. That young woman vanished. If she'd genuinely been real, yet I remained capable. They presumed confronting a muddled, silent elder who'd thankfully embrace any care fragments tossed his way. They ignored what they'd stirred. Elizabeth's marriage band lingered in the tiny tray on my bedside. I lifted it with quivering digits, recalling her habit of rotating it during contemplation. She would have discerned Sarah's handling. She always penetrated people's facades superior to me. From below, their tones persisted in the galley. They assumed ample time to blueprint my destiny. I replaced Elizabeth's band and advanced stealthily toward my chamber portal. The vintage home possessed superb sound transmission. I'd contributed to certain remodels myself 25 years back. The warming duct near the stairs conveyed galley audio magnificently. And if aligned precisely in the corridor, I perceived all. I assessed each stride, mindful of creaky planks. The fourth tread moaned on its right edge, but the left remained mute. Wisdom from decades residing here, now fulfilling an unforeseen role. Riverside Manor costs $5,500 monthly, Mark stated upon my positioning, but health coverage manages most with proper health assessments. Sarah's tone transmitted clearly via the duct. The broker said we might fetch at least $520,000 for this spot. Post-loan settlement. That yields $380,000 for the initial payment on that property in Aspen. My residence, the abode Elizabeth and I constructed our lives within, where we reared our offspring, where she drew her final breath. They treated it as merchandise, What's the schedule? Mark questioned. A month, perhaps sooner. We must establish incompetence patterns first. Record events, recall lapses. Dr. Patel owes me from assisting his Mustang purchase. He could draft any required assessment. I gripped the rail so intensely my knuckles blanched. They weren't merely abandoning me. They plotted to manufacture proof of cognitive decay. My child schemed to ruin my standing and autonomy. Footfalls traversed the galley floor, and Sarah's tone neared. I ought to verify he's not dubious. I retreated swiftly yet soundlessly to my chamber, posing as if slumbering. I'd mastered respiration control during those extended nights guarding Elizabeth. Sarah's steps ascended the stairs. Evading that noisy fourth tread, I observed. "Father," she articulated boldly, "I fetched you tea." I unveiled my eyes gradually, winking as if disoriented. Sarah lingered in my entrance, bearing a hot cup, her features composed in affectionate worry that sickened me. She positioned the cup on my bedside, beside Elizabeth's band tray. The imagery struck me, my spouse's legacy displaced by my child's deceit. "You seemed exhausted before," Sarah uttered, pacing her words. "Are you well?" I nodded and extended for the pad. I scripted. "Appreciate it. You're wonderful to me." The terms soured like venom, but Sarah's grin intensified. She tapped my arm with seeming warmth to the uninformed, missing the scheming in her gaze. "Relax abundantly. Father, Mark and I handle all—" After her departure, I reclined motionless, attending her retreating steps. Then her tone resurfaced, updating Mark. He's utterly oblivious, as schemed, sipping his brew like an obedient invalid. Mark chortled. "Flawless. Perhaps hasten the schedule. Why delay a month? Patel could assess next week." We claim Father's experiencing spells, roaming, bewildered, skipping meals, abandoning the burner active. Typical cognitive decline indicators. Sarah hesitated, and I suspended my breath. That might succeed if we log additional occurrences over coming days. Precisely. By month's close, we could place him and scan property ads. I regarded the overhead. Thoughts racing. They weren't solely betraying me. They aimed to obliterate me, erode my self-reliance, honor, abode, all life's essence. But they'd erred gravely. They presumed managing a vulnerable, silent elder who'd yield to their chosen path. They lacked awareness that each uttered word fortified my defense. I extended from my billfold and extracted a card retained there for 4 years. William Foster, legal counsel. He'd managed Elizabeth's holdings and urged updating my testament. Tomorrow, I'd reach Bill. Tonight, I'd absorb every syllable they voiced. They sought to toy with an elder's existence. I prepared to demonstrate the peril therein. The card felt weighty between my fingers as I proceeded to my office. The space where I'd overseen family finances for 35 years. William Foster's digits appeared in modest navy print, matching the dossier for vital papers. I drew the cabinet and sifted through decades of sorted files. Account logs, revenue forms, vouchers, the documentary path of a life devoted to provision. What I uncovered tightened my chest with anguish. Sarah's nuptial bill. $40,000. I recollected liquidating portion of my retirement fund, laboring extra hours for weeks to restore the depletion. "Make it ideal. Father," she'd urged. Mother would have desired perfection, education debt records. 32,000 in disbursements I'd covered post her degree. Sarah weeping in my galley. 22 and petrified. "Father, I can't complete studies. The obligation overwhelms. I'd issued those payments unhesitatingly. Residence initial payment, 18,000, another retirement slice, another concession joyfully rendered as she was my child requiring aid. But here's more. Elizabeth's treatment expenses from those concluding months. $75,000 in therapies coverage omitted. Obligations I'd settled solo while Sarah invented pretexts to absent. I can't bear witnessing her thus. Father. The figures hazed as my grip trembled. Over $120,000 freely bestowed to a child now deeming me a load. I withdrew a snapshot from Sarah's university completion. She positioned between Elizabeth and me, limbs encircling our shoulders, beam luminous with potential. Couldn't achieve this minus you. Father, she'd murmured, I'll eternally recall your forfeits. The reminiscence sparked others, surging like flood through fractured barrier. Sarah, at 21, sobbing over academic debt. Others receive parental aid, ignoring my added shifts, forfeited breaks to fund her materials. Sarah, at 27, organizing her vows. You'll perpetually have shelter with us. Father, perpetually. That's vowed? Mark, assenting beside, his appreciation scripted. Even then. Sarah, at 34, skipping Elizabeth's burial arrangements for Mark's career gathering. You comprehend, right? Its major advancement prospect. Mother would endorse his attendance. Solitary in the mortuary office while my child labored 2 regions distant. And Elizabeth in those ultimate weeks, posing the query that fractured my core. Where's Sarah today, me fabricating with honed simplicity? She'll arrive tomorrow. Dear. She's occupied. Elizabeth assenting, embracing the fabrication as she craved belief in her child's concern. The trend clarified now. Sarah extracting, perpetually extracting, tendering vows as exchange for forthcoming demands, and me facilitating every plea as I mistook liberality for affection. I unveiled my recent account log and contrasted it to elder care expenses. Riverside Manor at $5,500 monthly would exhaust my reserves in under 3 years. But that concerned them not. They desired the residence funds immediately for their fresh existence in Aspen. When had Sarah last dialed merely to converse? When had she inquired of my day, my wellness, my solitude? Every dialogue concluded with a plea: aid with Mark's vehicle installment, advance funds for getaway, donate to their milestone voyage. Elizabeth had perceived the reality then. Attempted to caution me gently. You're fostering reliance, John. She'd stated after I'd funded Sarah's 4th auto-fix in 8 months. She must master her own resolutions. She's our child, I'd contended. We assist kin. There's distinction between assisting and facilitating, Elizabeth countered, and between thankfulness and privilege, now encircled by proof of my erroneous bounty. I comprehended my spouse's intent. Sarah hadn't mastered valuing my aid. She'd mastered anticipating it. When I turned needy, she'd viewed solely an obstruction to what she perpetually regarded legitimately hers. I regarded the snapshot once more, then laid it inverted in the compartment. The lass in that image was absent. In her stead, a female who'd invent psychological ailment to pilfer my self-rule, who'd collude with a physician to proclaim me incapable, who'd vend the abode where her mother perished to finance her aspirations. But I wasn't muddled. I was furious, and I prepared to contact William Foster at dawn. I extended from my contact ledger, turning to the F area where I'd noted his residence digits years prior. Certain dialogues couldn't await office times. Sarah had imparted a precious teaching on kin devotion. Now I'd impart one on repercussions. I awoke next dawn with William Foster's card still grasped in my palm. The clock numerals displayed 8 a.m., and I already detected Sarah stirring in the galley beneath, likely readying her routine act of devoted child. From my chamber pane, I observed Mark stowing items into their vehicle. Their tones wafted up through the dawn breeze, something regarding purchases and tasks. Ideal. I needed their absence for my intentions. I descended, advancing with cautious, uncertain paces of one adapting to auditory deficit. Sarah glanced up from the range where she whisked eggs, her grin luminous and contrived. "Morning." "Father," she bellowed, "I prepared your preferred meal." I nodded thankfully and signaled my ears quizzically. She clutched her constant pad and scripted. "Mark and I head shopping this, mem." "Okay, Solo, for some hours," I replied in script. "Yes. Thanks for such fine care." The falsehood bittered, but Sarah's content look confirmed full belief. She pecked my brow. A motion once heartwarming, now repulsive. "We'll return near 4. She articulated deliberately and distinctly. "Soup's in the cooler if famished. Post their exit at 11:15. I delayed precisely 20 minutes before grasping the receiver. Certain practices from my building days lingered. Always verify your gauges. Always confirm your chronology. Always possess a reserve scheme." William Foster responded on the third chime. "Foster Legal Firm." "William, it's John Harlan. I require altering my testament promptly." A hesitation. "John, I believed you faced auditory challenges. It's complex. Can you meet today? It's pressing." "Well, I could slot you at noon. But John, are you sure I've never been surer." The commute to central Denver took 15 minutes. William's workspace resided in a repurposed Victorian on East Cedar Avenue, the identical structure where he'd navigated Elizabeth's holdings 6 years back. Mrs. Reynolds, his aide, appeared startled seeing me enter, unaided. "Mr. Harlan, how marvelous you're improved." She uttered at standard level, "Much enhanced." "Thanks." William emerged from his inner space, a lofty figure with silvered sides who'd managed my legal matters for over 15 years. His clasp was solid, his look troubled. "John, I must inquire. Any mental hurdles, any disorientation or recall problems?" I met his gaze squarely. "William, alter my testament so all transfers to David, all the residents, reserves, assets, everything. And Sarah receives $500 for motives she'll grasp." William's brows lifted mildly, but his profession taught restraint in probing. "This marks a stark shift from your existing testament. Utterly certain, prepare the documents. I'll endorse today, for the following 90 minutes. We detailed the residence appraised at $500,000, my reserves with $200,000, my asset collection valued another $150,000, aggregate holdings roughly $850,000, all now allocated to David in Chicago rather than the child who'd termed me a load." "I'll require attesters for endorsement," William noted. "Examining the ultimate version, employ your team. And William, I desire a duplicate to carry home now, Tree. That's atypical, but feasible. By 2:30 p.m., the fresh testament was endorsed, attested, and registered. I departed William's workspace with a secured packet holding a replica, feeling buoyed as in weeks, not from depriving Sarah, but from reclaiming dominion over my existence. At home, I set the packet conspicuously on the galley surface, precisely where Sarah would spot it upon return from purchases. Then I aligned in the lounge with the periodical, reclining in my seat where I could perceive all galley occurrences. At 3:15 p.m., their vehicle doors thudded in the drive. Sarah's tone transmitted through the entry. Hope he avoided cooking while absent. The front portal unlocked, ensued by purchase sacks rustling and steps toward the galley. Then quiet. Then a keen gasp, slicing like blade. The packet crinkled as Sarah ripped it. I perceived every noise from my lounge spot, the tear of material, the shuffle of files, then utter stillness extending eternally. "Mark." Her tone scarcely audible. "Mark, enter now." Steps thumped across the galley. "What's amiss?" "You appear ghostly. View this." Files shuffled wildly, That ancient rogue altered his testament. I suspended breath, straining for each term while upholding my dozing stance behind the periodical. What alteration Mark's tone sharpened with alert, Sarah recited aloud, her timbre quaking with fury. To David Harlan, my offspring, I bequeath my whole holdings, encompassing yet not restricted to my dwelling at 512 Oak Street. All accounts, asset groups, and personal items. That can't stand legally. When executed, dated today. Mark. While we shopped like dutiful guardians, he was central signing our prospects away. A seat grated on the floor, followed by pacing. How much discussed? The residence solely merits 500, plus reserves, assets. Sarah's tone fractured. We forfeited over 800,000 to my sibling absent 2 years. Must exist a challenge method, mental incapacity, improper sway, something? Sarah's chuckle bittered sharply. Oh, more exists. Hear this. Mark, to Anna Harlan Thompson, my child, I bequeath $500 for motives she'll comprehend. The galley silenced save labored respiration. For motives she'll comprehend, Mark echoed gradually. What implies that... It implies he knows. Sarah's tone chilled. Plotting. Somehow that decrepit elder deduced our schemes. Impossible. He hears zilch. We've conversed before him weeks. Then clarify this. Files smacked the surface. Clarify how a befuddled, silent elder transported to a council's workspace and rewrote his testament sans our awareness. I compelled steady, even respiration, preserving the cadence of serene slumber. Every urge urged grinning, chuckling, unveiling the exquisite snare I'd laid. But the contest lingered. All right, Mark uttered, tone-forcing composure. Let's reason logically. Perhaps he's less impaired than assumed. Perhaps he's probing us. Probing us? Sarah's tone escalated perilously. Probing us by feigning silence while we blueprinted his destiny. That scheming wretch, lower your tone. He's adjacent. I disregard if he perceives. If he's gaming. Games conclude. Steps advanced toward the lounge. I sealed my eyes fully and permitted the periodical to sag mildly in my grasp, the image of an aged gent napping in his seat. Father. Sarah's tone sickeningly saccharine anew, yet I detected the tension beneath. Father. Awake, I roused gradually, winking confusedly as I regarded her. Her visage flushed, palms balled at her flanks. Oh, Sarah. Good shopping. She scrutinized my visage lengthy, hunting deception traces. Father ventured anywhere today while absent? Ventured no, remained here. Why venture you visited none, dialed any dialed. I contacted my ears with sorrowful grin. Dear, I hear inadequately for dials now. You aware? Sarah's mandible tensed, but she compelled caring worry. Certainly. I overlooked. Apologies. Father. She pivoted and returned to galley, and I caught her pressing murmur to Mark. Either he's premier performer, or we overlook something. What intend contact Dr. Patel? State we require documents tomorrow, not subsequent week. If Father's gaming, we'll demonstrate game conclusion. And if truly muddled, if this testament merely fluke. Sarah's chuckle chilled as autumn gust. Then he won't recall endorsing anyway. Will he either path? By Saturday he'll be proclaimed incapable, and we'll dispute this testament as fruit of afflicted intellect. I perched in my seat, periodical quivering mildly in my grasp, and sensed a grin tug my lips. The noise of Sarah punching digits into the galley receiver transmitted clearly to my lounge position. She dialed someone, and from her repeated throat, clearing and pacing, I discerned preparation for tough exchange. David, thank heavens you responded. Her tone high and strained. No, all unwell. Father has utterly lost his faculties. I adjusted mildly in my seat, angling to catch every term while sustaining slumber pose. This precisely what I'd anticipated. He modified his testament. David, all transfers to you now. Residence, reserves, all. He's excised me totally, save insulting 500 token. I perceived David's tone faintly via receiver posing queries, but Sarah's replies revealed all needed on his reaction. When today, while Mark and I purchased provisions like dutiful attendants, he was central signing my prospects away. Sarah's tone cracked with seeming authentic tears. I've forfeited all caring for him. David, I relocated here, abandoned my existence, and this his repayment. She excelled. I'd grant that. If unhearing her true sentiments personally, I might have trusted the act myself. He's mentally unfit now. David, grasp this testament's product of diseased intellect. You must decline the legacy. It should divide equitably between us. David's reply lengthier this instance as Sarah quieted, and I saw her visage reddening through galley entrance. Good motives. She erupted finally. What good motives possible? I'm his child. I've cared while you enjoy cozy existence in Chicago. Another hesitation, then her tone turned lethally chill. How dare judge me? David, you visit annually if fortunate. Dispatch holiday card and abruptly your authority on father's needs. I heard receiver slam. Ensued by Sarah's irate steps. Ideal timing. I roused in my seat and surveyed with befuddled look of fresh awakening. Sarah. Phone someone. Thought voices. She spun, visage still crimson with wrath, but instantly rearranged features to resemble worry. Oh, father. Yes. Just conversed with David. I winked at her, touching ears, puzzled. David, my offspring, David. All fine. You appear distressed. Father, we must discuss your testament about today's modifications. I stared blankly. My testament don't comprehend. What modifications? I saw frustration mounting behind her gaze as she realized explaining to one she believed auditory impaired and increasingly muddled. Never mind, Father. It's intricate. Why not rest? If sure, all right, I uttered, rising gradually. Think I'll recline. This excitement fatigues me. I ascended upstairs, moving with Elder's careful steps. But once chamber sealed, I moved purposefully, my mobile hid in bedside compartment, a device Sarah unaware I possessed. I dialed David's digits from recall. Hello? His tone wary. David, it's Father? Lengthy pause. Father? Sarah said hearing issues. How dialing, son. Sit. What I'll reveal shocks. But keep this us. Promise, certainly. Father, what's occurring? I inhaled deeply. David. I perceive every word perfectly. Hearing restored 4 days ago, fully, but haven't told Sarah because I uncovered her true view of me. What means she termed me that aged load David? Heard her and Mark scheming to place me in Riverside Manor to vend this residence and purchase in Aspen with my funds. David's keen gasp audible even via phone. Father, absolutely sure, son. Every term. They've schemed weeks, perhaps months. Even possess physician ally named Patel forging health assessments to proclaim me incapable. Silence extended, so I thought disconnected. David. There, here, Father. Just absorbing. That call Sarah made. Trying get me refuse legacy. Wasn't she? Precisely. Once you think I'm deranged, so you'll surrender what I chose leave you. Father. So sorry. Should have known wrong. Should have visited oftener. You have family, son, understood on. But now need your aid. From below. Heard Sarah's tone again. Urgent with Mark. Planning something. Tone ominous. David? I perceive every word perfectly. I stated into receiver, tone firm despite revelation's weight. 4 days ago. Hearing restored fully. But I've feigned silence due to sister's discovery. Father. If here, why not tell Sarah? Why persist pretending? Because first heard returning from clinic was Sarah calling me that aged load, discussing plans, place me Riverside Manor. She computed my residence worth post-sale, $520,000 after loan. Want use my funds, buy place Aspen. David's tone, tight disbelief. She said that, called load exact terms, but not worst. Son, have physician friend Patel create forged health assessments, declaring mentally incapable. Plan have me unfit, then contest legal decisions made. Lord, Father, that's elder mistreatment, that's deceit. Now grasp why altered testament, had safeguard before their execution. But David, more. Tonight heard them say, Dr. Patel confirmed Saturday morning. Accelerating schedule. Heard David breathing heavily. Processing sister's betrayal scope. Father, feel ill. All years you backed her. Funded vows, aided debts, everything. This her repayment. Your mother always saw Sarah's facade. Should have heeded Elizabeth closer. What need I do come can off Saturday? Not yet, son. When Sarah redials, and we'll play along. Tell concerned my mental state. Suggest visiting weekend. Want me deceive her, want give her rope, self-entangle. Desperate now. Desperate. From below came urgent tones. Pressed receiver closer. Hold. David. Planning. Sarah's tone carried via warming duct. Dr. Patel confirmed Saturday morning 10. He'll assess here residence. Mark responded. What if elder refuses cooperate? Won't choice? Patel say displaying dementia signs, confusion, memory loss, inability, rational decisions. With testament change, evidence instability. Grounds competency hearing. And David? David's doubting father's mental state. Planted seeds tonight. If redial tomorrow, more concerns. Might support evaluation. I returned phone. Tone somber. David, hear any enough? Father, planning declare you incapable Saturday morning. Can't allow, no, can't. But idea, when Sarah calls tomorrow, sound worried me. Say evaluation good idea. Father, dislike deceiving family. Son, ceased family moment decided, steal independence, sell home. She's banking your decency aid her fraud. David quiet moment, right? What else keep concerned sibling till signal? And David document all she tells. Every falsehood, manipulation to, might need later. Planning what? Father regarded chamber. Elizabeth's gem case on dresser, our vows snapshot bedside. Life built this residence, Sarah wanted vend. Planning remind sister who she's undervalued, thinks dealing confused, helpless elder, tomorrow she'll discover error. Careful. Father, if desperate commit fraud, no telling else, don't fret me. Son. Survived 35 years construction engineer, 6 years sorrow. Can handle one avaricious child, her useless spouse. After disconnect, sat chamber darkness. Listening Sarah Mark planning final assault my freedom. Unaware victim heard every term. Logged every lie. Prepared own surprise. Through galley pane shades. Watched Sarah Mark load purchase sacks into 2020 Chevy Traverse. Sarah gestured wildly at phone something, while Mark checked watch, 4th time 3 minutes. Back by 3 p. Heard Mark call toward residence, though thought unheard. Don't forget Dr. Patel arrives tomorrow 10 sharp. Sarah's tone carried drive, artificially sweet, perfected days. Father, going shopping. Back soon. Remained motionless behind shades till vehicle vanished corner. Then permitted smile. 4 hours. Ample prepare farewell present. Walked slowly through residence, inventorying. Sarah comfortable guest chamber claimed own. Dresser overflowed costly attire. Satin tops, premium denim, gems sparkling dim light. All acquired. Noticed from vouchers scattered bedside, with charge cards listing my address billing. Mark claimed guest storage his items. 4 executive outfits. Tennis rackets. Pricey portable. Electronic devices unidentified. Price labels his racket case alone feed Family Week. From lower storage, retrieved 2 sizable valises. Elizabetha used milestone trips, Grand Canyon. Leather still flexible. Metal fittings bright. Bags carried joyful recollections once, now carry else. Began Sarah's items, folding each meticulous as once blueprints. Her vows gown preserved plastic since Union Mark. Snapshot Collections University funded my pension. Gem case gifted 16th birthday. Now filled pieces never worn. Mark's belongings second valise. Costly electronics. Tennis accessories collection. Hide folder containing business cards, jobs never sustained. All brought my residence. Accumulated living under roof planning downfall. As packed, recalled Elizabeth's words, Sarah's last visit pre-marriage. That last takes all give asks more. When enough. John never uttered empty space. Never enough. Carried both valises lounge positioned prominently front sofa unavoidable. Sight striking. 2 costly luggage pieces, silent accusations, center room. Phone vibrated, text, David. Holding up. Father still planning afternoon typed back. All set. Wish luck. Response swift. Got this. She merits coming. Settled recliner periodical, positioning seafront portal clearly. Lounge perfect. My seats. Elizabeth's porcelain display. Kin snapshots mantle. Those valises monuments betrayal center all. At 2:30 p.m. Heard familiar vehicle drive arrival. Doors thudded. Sarah's laughter something Mark said. Purchase sacks rustled approaching portal. Inhaled deeply lowered periodical mildly. Positioning lifetime performance. Key rotated lock. Think got everything tomorrow's. Sarah's tone severed mid as portal swung. Purchase sacks hitting wood floor echoed passage gunshots. What devil Mark's tone sharp confusion so. Sarah, our valises. Heard Sarah's steps moving swiftly floor, breathing rapid shallow. Father, this called tone climbing hysteria. Kept periodical raised. Savoring panic second, maintaining elder, peacefully reading pose. Then extraordinary occurred. Sarah's tone shifted fully, filling genuine thrill. Oh Lord. Mark. Finally packed. Mean elder actually departing? Mark grasped instantly. Tone igniting joy. Can't believe? Finally. Sarah practically laughing. Going Riverside Manor. Won't proceed hold Dr. Patel thing. Perfect. Mark pacing. Steps quick energetics. Can start updates next week. Perhaps call that builder Aspen. 850,000. Mark. Finally free. Celebrating. Actually celebrating thought surrender. Defeat. Willingness vanish quietly life. Every harsh term confirmed true selves. Slowly lowered periodical regarded directly. No, dear. Uttered perfectly clear, calm tone. You leaving my residence? Sarah's visage paled paper. Excited grin froze lips crumbling pure horror. Father, just hear me. Tone barely whisper. Mark stepped backward portal. Eyes wide, dawning realization, clear speech meant. John. How long Abel here stood gradually chair, joints stronger years. Every single word since home clinic 4 days ago. Sarah's palm flew mouth. Heard everything said. Every conversation me aged load. Every discussion selling residence. Every plan declare incompetent steal life. Mark's visage pale red. John, just frustrated. Didn't meant every word. Cut off. Know exactly are now. Mark? Both? Sarah's eyes teared. Saw calculation behind. Father, explain, just worried you. Thought needed more care provide. Calculated losing $850,000, my money already yours. Uttered steadily cold. Planned, declare mentally incapable using forged health assessments. Mark's idea. Sarah pointed husband desperately. Would never you. Called load. Anna. Own residence planning, steal independence, sell home. Mark's shock yielding anger. Can't kick us. Nowhere go. Gave apartment care you. Moved, couldn't afford place, replied calmly. Now learn find without help. Sarah dropped knees beside chair, grabbing arm both hands. Please, father, daughter, mistake. But love you. Looked down, woman taken, all given, still wanted more. Planned destroyed dignity, independence money. If loved. Anna wouldn't called load. Wouldn't planned declare crazy. Wouldn't celebrated thought defeat. Pointed valises. Have everything brought residence. Everything accumulated living rent-free planning future. More deserve. Sarah's poise shattered fully. Tears streamed, face dropped, knees beside chair. Clutching arm, both hands. Father. Breaking heart. Little girl. Daughter. Tone cracked, seeming genuine emotion. Someone unheard celebrating supposed surrender minutes earlier. Please don't me. Mother devastated, see treating own daughter way. Too much. Looked down, eyes cold winter frost. Mother warned selfishness before died. Anna said, watch Sarah. Only around need something. Never said making up. Said after asked 5,000 pay milestone voyage hospice care. Not never. Sarah's tone faltered, memory hit. Mark stepped forward. Trying different. John look all mistakes. But family. Work out. Sarah seized words. Tears switching faucet. Yes, father. Fix. Take better care. Cancel everything, Dr. Patel. Completely different. Showed exactly are. Replied steadily. Believe. But people change. Sarah's tone climbed hysteria. Give chance, please. Mark's reasonableness cracking. Face reddened, voice rose. Can't throw garbage. Legal rights? Actually. Mark. 0 legal rights residents. Not tenants. Not kin claim. House guests worn welcome. Contest testament. Mark jabbed finger. Prove mentally incapable. No sane disinherit own daughter. Smiled calmly. Good luck. Lawyer recordings, conversations, plans. Blood drained Mark's face. What recordings can't record private without consent? Course no recordings. Psychological effect, immediate, devastating. Sarah's eyes widened, terror. Father, please, stressed, didn't mean, said stupid, meant every word. Calculated net worth last dollar, planned future already dead. Mark's desperation aggressive. Hell supposed to go no money. Gave apartment care. Moved, couldn't afford rent. Corrected, not problem anymore. Sarah tried final emotional. Father, gave whole life care. Sacrificed everything. Loved mother much, you. Missed mother's funeral planning. Mark work party Phoenix. Told big opportunity mother wanted attend. Sarah's mouth opened closed soundlessly. Visited twice final month hospice. Twice. There every day watching ask where daughter. Couldn't handle seeing like, Sarah whispered. But could handle planning nursing home cell house died. Something Sarah's face hardened. Mask-loving, caring daughter fell completely. Fine, said standing, brushing knees. Leave. Regret. Father. Alone. Need help. Won't. Been alone 4 years, replied calmly. Least now pretend not. Mark grabbed valise force necessary. Insane. Throwing family. No. said watching struggle belongings. Through family-decided obstacle inheritance. Sarah picked second valise. Face twisted resentment. See, father. See, really alone. Looking forward. Moved front portal, costly belongings weighing like anchors. Threshold. Sarah turned last. Change mind. Won't. Cut off. Don't call asking money. Portal slammed behind, finality, echoed house bell. Stood lounge pane, watching Sarah mark struggle-fit valises, Chevy Traverse. Mark rearranged sacks 3 times, cursing breath each unfit. Sarah sat passenger, staring ahead. Face mask, cold fury. Finally doors shut. Engine started pulled driveway last. Watched taillights vanish corner. Continued empty street several minutes. Silence followed unlike years. Not oppressive, quiet silence. Not tense, hidden hostility. Genuine peace. House seemed exhale, releasing 4 years accumulated stress. Walked each room slowly, noting absence belongings. Sarah's costly lotions gone bathroom surface. Mark's tennis journals no longer cluttered table. Guest chamber spacious, clean without clothes scattered. Kitchen, found dropped shopping sacks, discovered valises. Carried garbage without contents glance. Whatever bought celebration supposed defeat wrought plans. Sat recliner, recliner lounge, house. Experienced hadn't Elizabeth's death. Complete contentment. No plotting, no calculating worth planning future. Alone, free. Cell buzzed. David. Father. Go, okay, son gone. Over. Feeling considered seriously. How feeling relief? Certainly. Vindication. Mostly felt light. Carried heavy load years unaware. Feel free first time mother died. Proud you. Father. Standing yourself. Mother proud too. Should have heeded warning Sarah years ago. Maybe gave Sarah every chance daughter deserved. Not failure. Father. Love. Talked 20 minutes more. David promised visit soon. Maybe bring kids weekend. Should know grandfather. Said, real one. After hung, made dinner. Simple scrambled eggs toast. Ate kitchen table watching sunset window. No complained food. No sarcastic cooking comments. No calculated meal cost speculated too old cook self. Thought Elizabeth's tone. Used say, deserve better treatment. John. Talking Sarah even then, though too blind. See. After dinner. Walked house time. Really seeing. Family snapshots mantle told story. Pictures David children, Elizabeth me anniversaries, holidays, Sarah, young enough genuinely love family money. Removed photos included Sarah stored drawer, not cruelty, wanted remember good times without bitter end knowledge. Mantle looked cleaner, honest. Study, pulled legal pad began list, call bank, remove Sarah emergency contact, update medical directives, schedule lunch, old friends neglected Sarah's stay, plan trip Chicago visit David grandchildren. First time years. Planning future instead enduring present. Prepared bed. Thought something Elizabeth told early years. Some see kindness weakness. John wrong. Kindness strength. Finally stop giving undeserving wisdom. Finally learned difference. Quiet chamber, heard own breathing. Steady calm. No voices plotting galley below. No footsteps pacing greed. Sound man peace own home. Tomorrow wake house wanted. Belonged. Every decision mine. Smiled darkness slept better years. And me facilitating every plea confused liberality love. Opened current account statement compared nursing home costs discussed. Riverside Manor 5,500 monthly consumed savings less 3 years. But not concern. Wanted house money front new life Aspen. Phone sat desk, silent, accusatory. When Sarah last called, talk. When asked day, health, loneliness. Every conversation past 6 years ended request. Help Mark's car payment. Loan money vacation contribute anniversary cruise. Thought good father. Thought. Honoring Elizabeth's memory-caring daughter. But Elizabeth seen truth then. Tried warn gentle. Creating dependency. John said after paid Sarah's 4th car repair 8 months. Needs learn solve problems. Our daughter argued. Help family. Difference helping enabling. Elizabeth replied. Difference gratitude entitlement. Now surrounded evidence misguided generosity. Understood wife trying tell. Sarah hadn't learned appreciate help, learned expect, when helping harder provide. Became needy. Seen burden blocking access always considered rightfully hers. Looked photo time. Placed face down drawer. Girl picture ever really existed. Gone. Place woman fabricate mental illness, steal independence. Conspire borrowed doctor declare incompetent. Sell home mother died fund dreams. Thought clever. Planning future sat upstairs deaf docile. Thought dealing confused old man gratefully accept scraps care offered. But not confused. Angry. Going call Bill Foster first morning. Reached address book. Flipping F section written Bill's home number years ago. Some conversations couldn't wait business hours. Sarah taught valuable lesson family loyalty. Now going teach one consequences. As the sun rose on a new day, John Harlan embraced the quiet freedom of his home. No more burdens, no more deceptions. He picked up the phone to call old friends, planning trips and laughter-filled gatherings. Life, at last, felt truly his own again. If this story touched you, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Share your impressions in the comments below. What would you have done in John's place? Drop your thoughts or questions, and let's discuss together. Your interactions mean the world to us. For the next captivating tale, click the box on the left. Thank you for watching.